Hopefully I won't self-combust. I have been gathering my things, so I've been up and down the stairs a few times. I'm in the upstairs sunroom, which might make me a little hot in my glasses, I think, or even steaming up a little bit, but we won't mind that. My name is Charlotte. I am stitching my way to Sanity, and this is my third episode. I come to you from the center of Manitoba, lower southern center, the center of Canada, actually. And I am a knitter, an obsessed, crazily obsessed knitter. And I just feel like I need to come here and share. So if you love knitting and making plans about knitting that you may or may not get to, then you might have some fun with me here, because I have way more plans than I for sure have time in my life. But anyway, it's a knitting podcast. If you happen to have seen me last month, a couple weeks ago, I don't know, time is an issue for me. But if you saw me last time, then you know I was working on the Mokki, Mokki, anyway, Mokki sweater that was in the 2019 Laine magazine. And this is it. It's finished. It's a beautiful sweater. However, I'm not sure I'm madly in love with the collar. I don't know what happened. I went down a full size. I think I used the exact same needle size as my previous one. This is my second version. The first version is being worn to death, and it's gray. And then I used the exact same yarn, just a different color. This is Brooklyn Tweed. And just like magic, Brooklyn Tweed Imbue in the color Lantern. And I love it, except for the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of how the neckline came out. And so I haven't woven in the ends yet. Anyways, the yarn is gorgeous. It's a baggy sweatshirt. I don't know what to say. It's a baggy sweatshirt. It's super comfortable. I knit it in a size smaller because my other version is quite large, which makes it really comfortable, like an oversized boyfriend sweater. This, even though I went down a size, is feeling much the same because I don't know, how much room do I have here? I want to say 10 inches maybe. But it's gorgeous. I didn't really make any changes to the pattern, except I did a folded collar instead of a double rib. And I made the back split hem a little bit longer. Those are the only two things that I did different. And I have done that differently in my other one as well. Oh my gosh, see? It's warm here. Anyway, I'll try and work through that. So this is my finished object. I don't yet have it on Ravelry, probably partly because I'm not sure how much I love the collar. If you want to comment and suggest, that would be great. I had finished a few other a couple, not a few. I'm not that fast, and I'm not I am that obsessed. I'm just not that fast. But I finished a couple of the last few sweaters that I had worked on. I did a double collar, the folded, and then just knit 3 needle bind off. And I quite liked how they looked. So instead of just doing a regular ribbing, I did that for this one, but it just, I guess I'm not good at guesstimating yet how much is much. Also, even though I made it a size smaller than my other one, when I wet blocked it, it really stretched. And so I threw it in the dryer to suck it back up a little bit. And it worked. I don't know that I would necessarily suggest that to everybody, but it absolutely worked because it allowed it to kind of shrink back. I didn't do it for long, and it was not in there unattended. But I did because the sleeves were like, it just stretched like crazy. Anyway, so when in doubt, before you rip it apart or are unhappy with it, try a few things, right? Like I just threw it in. So now, because I picked up originally on the collar and started, and because I have more yarn, I am now debating whether or not to take it apart and just start again and just pick up less stitches, maybe to cinch it in a little bit. I mean, and it stretches up fairly quickly if I just pull on it a little bit, which isn't very great. Or I think I have some elastic that I could put in here to cinch it up a little. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. But anyways, so it's a finished object, not finished object, because it's a finished object that is struggling a little bit, like some of my knits. Anyway, that's my first finished object. My second and third one, and don't be too impressed yet because they're little people sweaters. So they're not the same size and knitting amount. But I've been obsessed by, if you saw them again last time, continuing on, if you saw, I was obsessed by, and still am a little obsessed. I feel like I could almost just keep knitting that pattern. Anyway, the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knits. Initially, I'd made one for my granddaughter. I know she was born May 8th this year, so just a little while ago. And Opcha's making her a sweater that is a little big, but I figure she'll grow into it. This is always my plan, knitting for the grandchildren. They'll grow into it. I know at some point I'm going to have to try to make it to fit, but for now, they're little enough that they'll grow into them. Anyway, so I had originally made this one. All the information will be on Ravelry. And it was in a ancient art yarns that was beautiful. I think it was called Golden Retriever or Golden Labrador or something. Anyways, beautiful. I love it. Then secondly, I made this one, which I talked about last time. And this one is not as green as it was once. And the ends, as you can see, are not knit in, sewn in, because it bled. It bled and bled and bled. It continues to bleed. Anyway, this one's now on a shelf, unless somebody really wants it. We'll see. The kids haven't seen it yet. But anyway, same pattern, same loveliness. The first one was a size 2-3. This one's size 5-6. And in lieu of that one, and since last being here, I knit this one. Oh, gosh, that's gorgeous. And this is knit using Miss Bab's Tuscan Sun Yowza yarn that I had in stash. And it's soft and luscious. It's super wash, can be thrown in the wash. And I'm thrilled with it. Again, size 5-6, because I have 2 grandkids that are 3-ish and one that is actually 5-6-ish and a newborn. So I make the other ones the bigger sweaters. And then because there's more kids, I whipped off this one. I know, whipped off. It feels like I whipped it off. This one using, now I can't remember the yarn name. I keep looking back there. That's not going to help me because I don't have any more left. It's called Pistachio Cream. I will put the name of it in the bottom. Sorry, I don't remember the name of the yarn, but it is gorgeous. I love it. It is so pretty. This really lovely green color, little flecks of yellow and gold. Oh, it's beautiful. So that's the last of them. and I'm not knitting anymore for now. However, I have to say, the pattern is so fabulous that I am definitely going to end up making one for myself. I'm just not sure what I'm going to use to make it yet. I have some in stash that, yeah, some really nice light colored yarn. I feel like the light colored yarn really, really shows off the texture beautifully. And I can see why most cabled or textured patterns are done in light colors. If you do it in a darker color, I mean, you can't tell by this green right now so much because it's bled a lot, but it was a much darker green. And before it started letting go of all its dye, it was a little harder to see the um the texture in it. So those are my finished knits, this one, and two children's sweaters, which brings me to three. And then I may end up making a fourth. We'll have to see. Anyways, that's the Ingrid sweater by Petite Knits. I might have said that already. I'm saying it again because you can't, I can't say enough about it. It's just a really beautifully written pattern, really easy to follow. And yeah, the sweaters are gorgeous and they're way too much fun. Way too much fun to knit. I don't know what it is. I seem to really love. Some people like color work. I'm trying to learn to love that, and you'll see what I mean. But I tend to really love doing textures, it seems. It's only taken me 5 years to figure that out. Anyway, those are what I've knit. What I'm currently working on, I'm finding extraordinarily exciting. You may or may not. But I swatched, no kidding. I think I swatched before a few times, but I wasn't really wrapping my head around it. But now I had watched a video of someone who made this sweater out of a very specific yarn, and I fell head over heels in love with it and thought it was gorgeous. Again, off the top of my head, it's what happens when you're shortly turning 60. You forget things, and I didn't write down all my notes. Anyway, I fell in love with this other YouTuber, her version of this sweater in this green color. Oh, sorry, I'll show you the right side. And it was gorgeous. Hers didn't have sparkle. I even sent her a note saying, oh my gosh, I am absolutely obsessing about your sweater and I'm going to copy you. I'm going to shamelessly copy you. And she thought that was great and told me the yarn was amazing. And I had ordered it. And so I wanted mine to be a little jazzed up. I just didn't feel quite right about copying her completely. So I jazzed mine up a little and added some sparkle. Also because I watch the Grocery Girls a fair bit. They seem to be totally in love with sparkle, and I get it. And I don't know, we travel a fair bit, and we love to go into the fancy stores. And a lot of times we'll run across different name brands and designers. And I am completely in love with Brunello Cucinelli and all of his stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's very, well, I was going to say very simple, but some of it is not very simple, and it's certainly not easy to replicate. And I'm not spending quite that kind of money on a sweater that, I'm only wearing occasionally. But he's been using also a lot of sparkle, and so that has inspired me. And so I'm totally in love with this. I hope it shows up as beautifully as it shows up in person. But I made a swatch using the suggested needle size, which I think was a 4 millimeter. And that wasn't giving me 22 stitches. And so then I used 3 point something. Anyways, I used 2 more needle sizes and kept going down. And I ended up using a size 3, which is a 3.25. Feels crazy. But and I block these, well, blocked. I wet them and let them dry because that's how I'm expecting to handle my new sweater. And I love the drape of it and the material of it and the density of it. And it does feel quite soft. So I have hope. And so I started, and I've been rambling, and you don't know yet what I'm making. So, oops, wrong pattern. I am making the Braidy Loops sweater. Oh my God, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I started this yesterday, I want to say. It's a little bit of a convoluted knit, but it's got, I'll stick a picture right here. It's a beautiful sweater. It has this gorgeous cable going down, like literally the length of the sleeves and up the back, and then down the sleeve and up the back. Anyway, I fell in love with it. And I'm using Yorkshire Spinners fleece blue face Leicester, sorry, in this gorgeous colorway Fellside, which is the one she was using, and it looked beautiful. But I also added, because I have to be me, sorry, I have it in a baggie so that I'm also using this sparkle. This is Laine Paillettes, and it is in the color 39.003. 39.003. And I wasn't sure because this is quite brown, but it's got a gold sparkle, and this is quite green with a dark sort of black, almost, I don't know what you would call that, with a black sort of undertone, I guess, or something. Anyways, I wasn't sure how that was going to look, and I had originally gone online and looked to see if I could find something green. I was on the Crafty Jackalope site looking to see if I could find a green, and I think I found one. And then I got eager, and I had this in my stash, and I thought, what I actually thought was, oh, the green is so foresty. This sort of has that earthy tone to it. And that's what made me do the swatch, because I wanted to see how they would look together, because I did not want to start a whole sweater without deciding that that was going to look good. So hence my swatches, which completely made me decide to go ahead and do it, because it just, that the sparkle, the string on the sparkle gives it just a little bit of a different tone, which is beautiful. And yeah, so this is what I have been obsessively working on, because we're coming into summer, and I really need a DK 22 stitch cabled sweater, wool, 100% wool, non-superwash sweater. So it's a little convoluted. I think that sometimes the instructions are, everybody writes instructions differently, and it feels like a little bit of a puzzle. So the first, I think, first day or two of stitching always sort of feels a little to me like I'm doing a puzzle, and it's can't have the radio on, can't have my YouTube videos on, need to really pay attention, because you don't want to screw it up, right? I mean, all of this, and why would you screw it up? Anyway, so you start off, I don't want this to fall off, because you start off knitting the half of the back and the shoulder, and then you attach, because you've done a provisional cast on, the other back half, and then what? And then you knit, no, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, you knit off, sorry, you start with this back piece and knit down, and then this back piece, knit down, and then you pick up the stitches all the way around and start making measured increases. And then I don't know, I'm just following along. It's been pretty clear. The one thing I will say that kind of messed me up a little bit is I'm sort of used to following instructions verbatim and just following line by line. And so sometimes when they put like a little summary of the next section, I was reading it going the yoke, and they were talking about everything, and they were talking about the arms and the shoulders, and they weren't anyway. It had me flustered for about 5-10 minutes until I read the next paragraph, because I don't read the whole pattern before I get started. I don't know about you. I don't. Um, Anyways, and then it became clear, right? Then they gave you the stitch count for picking up on one side, picking up on the other, and then it became clear as day. And so I have never really felt comfortable stitching or knitting cables, but I am totally in love with how this is looking. It is clearly giving me Brunello Cucinelli vibes, that little bit of, well, little bit. It's more than a little bit of sparkle, I feel like. It's going to be a special sweater. But the color, I'm trying to focus more on rich colors just because I feel like they look a little better. I've never really worn green. I don't know. I tried to make a green sweater. Never mind. I did actually make a green sweater, and talked about it in one of my other videos. I did a green ranunculus, sorry, um, with some sparkle too, and it was quite beautiful. And I was halfway down, and my mother decided she loved it, and so I made it to fit her. So obviously I was still on the green factor, and when I saw this YouTuber make hers, I was just, that's the one I need. So anyways, that's one of the things that I'm working on. It's the only thing I'm working on right now. I'm a monogamous knitter, I feel like. I feel like maybe I could be, maybe I could spread myself out if I felt more comfortable, or didn't feel like I got lost easily. Because if I put this down for a while and then picked it back up, I feel like it would take me a long time to figure out where I'm going and what. Anyway, I just, and I'm obsessed. Truth is, honestly, I'm obsessed. So that's probably mostly why I'm a monogamous knitter. So I'm obsessed with seeing how this goes. I'm really looking forward to it. I've never been comfortable or eager to do cables, because it just, anytime I've tried, they've felt really awkward. And there's just two cables, one down the sleeve of each arm and one along the back. So it doesn't feel overwhelming. And they're done, I think, every 10 rows, or you do 9 rows in between. So yeah, every 10 rows. So it doesn't feel overwhelming. And I'm really excited. And I swatched, and I went down a crazy needle size. So hopefully this will actually fit me in a way that looks like I bought it, or I knit it on purpose for me, and not, not someone else that doesn't want it and I've inherited and it's too big. So anyway, this is my Braidy loop sweater by Other Loops, and I am stoked. I'm excited to be working on that. So that's that. The other, oops, I'm getting trapped in sparkle. The other thing that I went and did, anyway, finished objects, what I'm working on, and what I soon need to have on my needles, and what I've been sort of avoiding, um, and that is color work. Color work, mosaic, stranded, intarsia. I love color work, and I see things that I really want to make and I really fall in love with. Um, and I've done a few things. I made my son-in-law a sweater that I'll show you here. He loves it. He thinks it's great. And I'm so happy. It's not my best work. I took a pattern and I modified it to do the trucks, because he works with aggregate. And so he loves that kind of stuff. And so I made it for him, and I made the motif without really understanding how color work worked. And so it was a little bit of a shambles and a little bit of a nightmare to do, but he's wearing it occasionally. And so he loves it. He's impressed and he's thrilled. And so that's who you want it. He's very noteworthy. But anyway, since then, I love color work, but I feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. Case in point, I had started on, when everybody was making the framed sweater by Andrea Mowry, I started. This has been sitting in my stash in my hedgehog's fiber bag for a very long time. And I have not gotten very far. It's using a set of needles I could be using for something else if I knit more than one thing at a time. Anyways, I started it. I think I must have started it when the Barbie movie came out because I was in my pink phase and I was using yarn from Stash. It's a Miss Babs Yowza in a white color, and I had some hot pink in Stash. And then I was using Spin Cycle in Midsummer in their Dream State. Was working that in, and I have a few skeins of that, and I thought this would be so much fun. And now as I'm telling you about this, I feel like I want to finish it. The inside of it is, it feels a little unruly. Let me flip that so you can see. It feels a little unruly, and I haven't quite gotten the hang of the floats. And so it's been sitting. My intention was today to fess up, to pull it out of Stash, and to just go ahead and unravel it. I just feel like the framed sweater, I don't have the pattern sitting here. Stash that away too. The framed sweater, it's all over color work. It's beautiful. It just feels so overwhelming. And that's what happened. It just got tucked in a corner. It's been there for quite some time. And now as I look at it, I think, I actually pulled it out and I knew it was there. I had never forgotten about it. I'd pulled it out because what happened was I have fallen completely obsessively in love with the box dot sweater. That would be this one. This is the sweater on the right side up. This picture doesn't do it justice. And I saw it was in the Pom Pom magazine, I believe. I can't remember which episode. And I liked it, but it didn't really, I looked at it, I acknowledged it. Yep. Like a, meditation thought, beautiful, okay, goodbye. But then I watch knitting videos as I'm knitting often, and I saw Helle from Danish Musings wearing it. She had worked on it. And it's gorgeous. So whereas this doesn't do it justice, definitely the pictures on Ravelry or the pictures in the magazine, I don't have that Pom Pom magazine, but they definitely do it justice. But I sometimes get into trouble because I think, are those photos jacked up, right? Is the saturation jacked up? Is it really that beautiful? I'm not always sold. And so color work, it's just looked like overwhelming color work. So I wasn't super eager to get started on it. But then I saw hers. And this is what happened. I have all the yarn. I ordered some from a local yarn shop. I bought the base color from a local yarn shop. This is La Bien-Aimée, and this is Helix in the color Undergrowth. So it's like browny, blacky. It's just a beautiful sort of variegated yarn. And then all the colors, right? Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Anyways, all the colors, there's more. There's a lot. These I ordered straight from La Bien-Aimée because they're 25 gram skeins, and there's a lot of them. So to be able to keep track and order some from some and some from somewhere else is really difficult to do for me. And so I saw that they had all but one of the colors at Le Bien-Aimé. And when I ordered it, it had said, they had sent me an email saying that they were going to have to wait for one of them to be dyed. I can't, it was the hyacinth or something. It was a different purple, different color that I ordered. And I sent her an email back and I said, actually, I need the hyacinth, not the other purple that they had in stock. And so it was like serendipitous. She said, oh my gosh, well, we have that one. So I'll just swap them out and send you that one instead, because I told her what I was making. So the sweater looks overwhelming, but I feel like I've sort of decided that this was going to be my magnum opus this coming year, and I want to have it done by the winter. So I don't know when I'm going to start on it. I sort of feel like I need to finish my Braidy loop sweater first, so that conquering cables, which don't feel quite as overwhelming as the color work. And getting that done and having it look good will give me that boost of self-confidence that I feel like I need to undertake this Fox Thoughts sweater. And I'm also not doing all that work to not have it fit properly. So that one will be swatched too. This, you can get away with it. You can undo it. It doesn't feel like such a life work. I'm not so, I keep looking at it and I'm not so crazy about it. I think even a collared shirt would not help this collar out. So I have a funny feeling it's going to need to come out. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so in anticipation of the Fox Thoughts, I pulled out my framed sweater to work on it as sort of color work practice. And then I went into a bit of a deep dive on the internet. Yeah, I'm loving this. I need to work on this too. Anyway, I went into a deep dive on the internet on what's it called now? Ladderback jacquard, because I thought there's got to be a way, right? There's got to be a way to catch these floats, that they're not too loose and that makes sense. I just don't seem like some of these even seem too loose and then they look all wonky. Anyway, and some of them look a little tight. I don't know. Maybe I need to block this, wet it and block it and see. Not that I can remember how I was doing it or how I was holding it. It was so long ago, but anyway, I need to figure out a way to do the color work. And what I've discovered too is that sometimes, the knitting culture and knitting people, we have such the knitting people have such fancy names for things. German short rows, ladderback jacquard. They all sound so fancy and complicated and overwhelming. And, thank God for YouTube, because it kind of isn't. There are so many wonderful YouTubers out there who have videos that will teach you how to do all of these things in numerous ways, because there's like an endless amount of them. So anyway, I looked up ladderback jacquard, and it looks simple enough after thinking about it and ruminating about it for a while, that maybe that might be a way to help myself catch floats and not have such long floats in the back to make it more manageable. Anyway, I digress. In my crazy head, I was going to finish this off practicing ladderback jacquard and end up with a sweater practicing to make my magnum opus. And I haven't gotten there yet. Instead, I decided, I was watching a YouTube video and I went down a different rabbit hole, which I'm not mad about. I'm perfectly happy, and that's where I'm going. So that's where I'm going with that. The other thing that I also have on deck is another kid sweater. And I have to make this one. The Ingrid sweater, I don't know what happened to me. I just thought it would be fun, and I started with the small size and got obsessed. This one isn't a petite knitter. This one's a knitting for Olive, and it is look at that. Isn't that not cute? That's the dinosaur sweater. And what really struck me about this was the actual dinosaur. I just think he's adorable. He, she, doesn't matter. A little androgynous, I think. But I think it's adorable. So I bought yarn for this. And my plan was 4 grandchildren, well, one adopted grandchild. All the little people in my life were going to get one of these for Christmas. So that gave me a bit of time to do it because this is intarsia. Another technique that, again, I'm not the most confident in. It's going to be the year of learning, I think. But anyway, I fell in love with this sweater. I thought it was really gorgeous. So I ordered the exact yarn in different colors. So for 4 grandkids, I ordered oatmeal, which is a really beautiful creamy color, dusty banana, which is a lovely pale yellow, marzipan, and soft aqua. So my plan was to make each little person a sweater with a different background color and make the dinosaurs exactly the same. So I did order, and I do have in stash the yarn to make these exact dinosaurs in this exact color. So 4 different colored sweaters in the same yarn, different colored backgrounds, and 4 dinosaurs. I think I might force myself to be somewhat comfortable with intarsia after this. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm okay with that. Anyway, that's what's on deck. Those are my knitting plans, my knitting dreams. No, they're knitting plans. They have to be knitting plans because I have the yarn for this. And I have all the yarn, for the Fox Thought sweater. If I thought I could get away with just asking someone to knit it for me and paying them, I would. Even though the yarn was a small fortune. I don't even want to tell you how much the yarn was because it's crazy. But it's going to take me, it'll be months of entertainment, I feel like. I feel like that one will be months of entertainment. Anyway, that's what I'm knitting. That's what I've been up to. I'm excited about all my knitting plans. Not excited to deal with this. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do. I might just wear it for a while. I might just, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so yeah. The other thing that I got that I thought was kind of cool, I don't know how you keep track of rows. I notoriously, where's my book? I notoriously have a little notebook that I can't find right now. And I have it must be with all my knitting downstairs. Well, my knitting's up here, but with some of my knitting downstairs. But I keep a book much like this, and I write the name of the pattern and then the date. And I, when I need 9 rows or 12 rows or however many rows, I check mark, especially for this things like sleeves, right? Because you want them to be the same. And I just don't feel quite confident enough to measure or count rows. Counting rows feels really like a lot after the fact. So I just tick and check mark. And I was getting a little tired of it. And I thought I really need something to help me do that. And so I discovered this little gadget from Coco Knits. And it came from one of the yarn stores that's not local to me necessarily, but local to Canada, where I seem to order a lot of my stuff, which is the Knitting Loft. And it's on, this is a magnetic bracelet. Not sure why I bought that. I had some fancy thought of, well, I'll just have it on my wrist so I don't lose track of it. As it stands, I mean, it's a nice little holder, but I end up just having it sort of sitting. And then every time you do a row, you just click and it keeps track for you. And it actually works incredibly well. And then each time I just readjust it. And I find it really easy to use. Anyways, just in case anybody's interested in something like this, it wasn't crazy. I think it was like $25 or $30 or something, but it's a great little counter. It works really, really well. And you can throw it in your bag and you're not going to lose count. So that's also very nice because you don't always want to carry your notebook with you. Or I was also at one time using the Coco Knits folder to kind of help me follow a pattern, which is great. And for charts, it's great with the rulers and stuff. So I don't want to show you the pattern that I paid for. And you just slide the ruler up and down, which is great. But I'll show you the side that doesn't have the paid pattern to kind of keep track. And you can do it one way. There's two rulers and one goes one landscape, one goes portrait, and it just magnetically floats back and forth, which is great. But I've always worried that you stick this in your bag or you stick this somewhere and you know the magnet, it can move, it doesn't shuffle, so keeping track that way isn't my most favorite. Anyway, how do you keep track of stuff? And for those of you who knit on multiple projects at once, how do you keep track of that? That's something I would really love to know. Anyway, I just can't seem to. I seem to be obsessed, and on one thing I go, and then I can't seem to put it down, which I guess is not a bad thing. Anyway, I lost track of my tea, which is going to be maybe lukewarm by now. Anyway, again, or thank you for joining me and letting me share some of my knits and my projects and my what's on deck and what I'm dream knitting. And yeah, oh, happy Pride Month. Just haven't gone to any of the celebrations, but yeah, happy Pride Month. If you fall into any of those LGBTQ plus T, I don't know the alphabet part of it all that well, but I absolutely support all those people, everybody, anybody and everybody of every walk of life. You are welcome here, and I am a safe space. And that's it for my knitting for now. Thank you so much for joining me. You can follow me. I do have an Instagram page, will be linked below, and I'll have a little comment up here. And I am also on Ravelry, so you can see most of my projects there. This hasn't been put on, and I don't think I put the Ingrid sweater on there, Ingrid Sweaters, or one of them might be on there. I'm not always the best at keeping track of dates because I'm so obsessively knitting. But yeah, most of my projects are there, the needle sizes, all those things. So if you want more information, you can look there. You can look me up. You can follow me on either platform. And you can follow me here. I would love it if you subscribed, if you stayed this long. If you want to hear about my trials and tribulations of knitting, you know, things that I'm happy with and things that I'm not. Usually not the designer, it's usually me. I run into problems. And sometimes I don't. And now I'm rambling. But anyway, I'm back to my knitting, and hopefully I'll have some stuff to show you in another few weeks. I think I'd initially really planned on doing this once every 2 weeks, but I'm retired and I don't keep to a regimented schedule, and I'm not coming on here if I don't feel like I have something to share. So I'll see you in a couple, maybe 3 weeks. And yeah, you can like and subscribe if you enjoyed and shared time with me here today. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you back here next time. Bye for now.